I beg your pardon, of Vanguard newspaper. 2 million security personnel can't protect over 200 million Nigerians. According to COAs, then you find details of that on page 10. Tinubu rejects bill seeking to raise retirement age of National Assembly staff. Right, you find details on page 9. Now finally on Vanguard, amidst rising poverty, money supply increases 62% to 107 trillion naira. Find details of that on page 19 of Vanguard newspaper, and that will be all from the Vanguard.
All right, from the Vanguard newspaper, the Guardian is here, and the Guardian newspaper has been us up to speed with the current state of the unemployment, joblessness in Nigeria at this time, following the recent rating released by the National Bureau of Statistics. You also find here the bold one leading the front page of the Guardian: growing joblessness, or growing jobless, that's what it says, growing jobless. Self-employed Nigerians deem tax potential. That's on page 6, and you have a representation of what it is, what it looks like, the overview of the Nigerian labor market. The working age population have those who are regarded as the labor force, those not in the labor force, and you check all of the breakdown. That just gives you more insight as to the current state of things. As labor force unemployed 5.3%. You also find employed part-time, that's 84%, and employed full-time, that's 73.2% of the working age population. And of course, not in the labor force, informal employment 92.7%, retired 36.2%, not looking for work, that's 3.6%. And you begin to imagine the category of those who are not looking for work at this time, looking retired and looking for some form of employment. Let's check more headlines in the Guardian. Tinubu advocates multilateralism, permanent UNSC seat, debt forgiveness, that's a seat, the Security Council of the United Nations for Africa. Senate resumes, urges action on economic security challenges. You'll find here also in the Nigerian police force, 5,225 slain officers, benefits cost. Police 15.6 billion naira in a year. The benefit package for 5,225 slain officers. You also find here MPR concerns over job cuts, food hikes, as CBN says nation not yet out of the woods. Dangote advocates total subsidy removal. Okupe disagrees. And police invite leader of October 1 and bad governance planned protest. PDP warns against the let ploy to rig Ondo Guber poll. You find more stories right there in the Guardian newspaper for today.
All right, let me take you to the leadership. From the leadership this morning, we have this one. I was talking about Matawale denies links with bandits and demands proof. I find details of that on page 4 of leadership this morning, and the facts I read somewhere yesterday where the governor went as far as swearing, swearing by the Quran if he ever has any links with the bandits groups and insurgents or whatever it is you want to call it. But details of that you'll find on page 4 of leadership this morning. And this one also, blame Buhari for current economic hardship, says CBN. Blame Buhari for current economic hardship, says CBN. Tinubu inherited battered economy. We are battling with repercussions of 35 trillion naira ways and means. Stakeholders raise concern over 27.2 to 5% interest rate. Well, you find details of that on page 4 of leadership this morning. Justice Inyako, hence of Kanu's trial. You find details of that on page 8 of leadership as well. Dangote seeds end to petrol subsidy. You find details of that also on page 19 of leadership as well. And this one, federal government to launch new school curriculum next month. Well, we hope that this time around the, the new curriculum set to be launched will be effective and truly be able to make the education system drive the economy of the nation, the technological development, and what have you. Alright, you find details of that on page 8 of the leadership this morning. And we have this one, APC tackles Yaga Africa over Edopol report. You find details of that on page 18 of leadership. And this one, 5 police officers die in Zaria Kano auto crash. There's a sad one there. Details is on page 6 of leadership. And this one, 86 million Nigerians living in multi-dimensional poverty. The word sounds so high. Multi-dimensional poverty. And Action 8 says, you find details of that on page 14 of leadership newspaper this morning. And that will be it on leadership this morning. But before I leave leadership, okay, let's take this final one. UN General Assembly 79. You have Tinubu 6 permanent UN Security Council seat for Nigeria and Africa. Right, that will be all from the leadership.
All right, let's move from the leadership now to the Daily Trust newspaper. The Daily Trust newspaper here has this headline from the Nigerian military. It says, Army discharges female soldier who accused officer of sexual advances. Riders to that, cites mental challenge, exonerates colonel of allegation. Women Affairs Ministry silent. You also find a picture of the female soldier right there in the Daily Trust newspaper front page. Nigerians grappling with hardship. That's coming from Akpabio. There's also here, Akure goes to sleep as monarch begins leave. That's talking about the annual leave proceeded, embarked upon by the Deji of Akure ahead of the Ulufuta festival, as part of the Ulufuta festival, so to say. You also find, the way it's coined, goes to sleep. But really, if you want to know whether Akure really goes to sleep, when you check what it is like when it's 7 p.m. in town, it's as if, activities never existed in some areas across the state capital. And that tells you people are really going to sleep quite early these days. But more in the Daily Trust newspaper, EFCC probes own staff over 15 million bribery allegation. 15 million naira bribery allegation. You also find here, against expectations, CBN raises interest rate to 27.25%. Zamfara, Lawal, Matawale's feud gets messier. That's it from the Daily Trust newspaper.
Right from the Daily Trust, let's check the Daily Independent. Daily Independent has this for us. Nigerians grappling with realities of soaring living costs, says Akpabio. Says challenges testing very fabric of our society. Tinubu asks Senate to confirm Kekere Ekun as CJN. That's the Chief Justice of Nigeria. And we have this one. Nigeria's unemployment rate increased to 5.3%. Q1 of 2024. You find details of that on page 29 of Daily Independence. And page 7 also has the story, federal government complaint. Ombudsman says Daily Trust breached media professional standards, right? And on page 29, U.S. Chamber of Commerce commits $320 million to mortgages and SMEs in Nigeria. Tourist experts converse reduction in visa-free adoption of technology. You find details of that on page 7 of Daily Independence this morning. And on page 6 of Daily Independence is a story. Army discharges female soldier who accused officer of sexual harassment. Well, one would wish that the Ministry of Women Affairs will actually support the female soldier to look into the matter, to look into the allegation. We hope it's not just an instance of superiority, trying to use superior power over a subordinate. Well, details of that is on page 6 of the Daily Independent this morning. And we also have this one, drama in court as Justice Yanko withdraws from trial of Nnamdi Kanu. You have the details right there on the front page of Daily Independent. Inadequate funding, manpower impeding our performance, Army Chief says. Will continue to increase rates as inflation rises, says Cardozo. CBN raises MPR to 27.25% and CRR to 50%. States need to curtail excess liquidity, meet FX demand pressures. We have details of that on the front page of the Daily Independent as well. And finally, from the Daily Independent, power struggle, main cause of conflict in Nigeria and Africa, says the former president of Nigeria. That's talking about Dr. Goodluck Ibili Jonathan. Right, details of that is on page 6 of the Daily Independent.
All right, from the Daily Independence, the Nation newspaper is here with us. The Nation in the front page. NNPCL Dangote refinery row rages over price of petrol. How much is it in your area? Dangote sold below land cost of imported. We sold below landing cost of imported fuel. We bought at 898 naira. That's according to Oil Giants. That's the NNPCL. You also find here in the front page of the Nation, Tinubu seeks debt forgiveness for developing nations. President tells West to return looted funds. As governor, I never backed bandits, says Matawali. EFCC probes Bobrisky's 15 million naira bribery claim. And you also find third judge withdraws from Kano's trial amid drama. That's it from the Nation newspaper for today.
All right, we'll take the Nigerian Tribune. From the Nigerian Tribune, concerns as CBN raises interest rates to 27.25%. You find details of that on page 5 of Nigerian Tribune this morning, as manufacturers continue paying high interest rates, tightening of NPC detrimental to investment and economic growth, says CCP. And find details of that on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. Nigeria's peculiar petrol pricing confusion. Okay, you find details on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune as well. Dangote advocates total fuel subsidy removal. The story continues on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. Tinubu sends Kekirioko's name, 21 RFR commissioners to Senate for confirmation. Details of that you have on page 4. Biafra Justice Nyako withdraws from Nnamdi Kanu's trial. This is on page 10 of the Nigeria Tribune. And on page 4 is on Edo election. Observers should not usurp INEC roles. APC carpets Yaga Africa. Or says poll fair short of credibility requirements as observers. Police arrest 6, recover weapons, 50 voter cards as well. Details of that is on page 4. Zaid, can you take us through the sporting stories as we wrap up this segment?
Sport it is. Yes, let's check what the Punch Sport Extra has today. And in the front page of the Punch Sports Extra, find youngster and veterans. 10 Nigerians to watch in 2024-2025 UEFA Europa League. You find that right here in the Punch Sport Extra. You also find here Gala Boss reveals plan to keep Osimhen, and that's the Nigerian striker who is on loan in Galatasaray. Yamal more Maradona than Messi. You also find here one conversation right here in the sports scene in Nigeria following the revelation by Alingo Dangote talking about his interest at the time to take over Arsenal Football Club right there in the United Kingdom or in England and in the English Premier League. And now fans right here in Nigeria, calling on the business mogul. Fans to Dangote invest in NPFL, not Arsenal. The fine Palmer Chelsea upbeat. That's according to what is here. But let's close right here. Nigerian fencing secures 40 million naira equipment for EP's World Cup. You find that story right there in the Punch Sports Extra.
Alright, with that, we call it a wrap on the newspaper's headlines for this morning. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll be taking a look at the discussion for the day. And I think some of that concerns every one of us because, after all, we all finished from what school. So we'll be taking a look at the topic when we are back. That's talking about alumni supports and its impact on school development. Do not go away.
Leadership is not where it is okay. Leadership how you have acquired your experience and all. And what I is that be by HL to them. And no just for nothing. You work for it.
Glad to know you're still with us on the AM today. As before we went to that break, I promised you that when we return, we'll be taking a look at alumni supports and its impact on schools' development. And to discuss this with us this morning, I've got Mr. Benga Odewale, who's a social commentator. It's nice to have you in the studios. All right, it is not uncommon to find in the society today where different groups or sets of alumni students from various institutions, especially secondary schools, coming together to contribute one thing or the other to their school's development. In fact, I think in Akure Township we had the old school renovated, by alumni association and all that. And recently, the deputy governor was honored by Imadi College in Owo, and all that and all that. Alumni association trying, maybe the love for their alma mater wants to make them do this. But what we want to say, primarily, the issue of schools development is the government's or the proprietors, whoever owns the school. So, what's the idea of the alumni coming to the aid of the schools?
Okay, thank you, moderator. You see, it's like the relationship between a mother and a child. You see, the mother gives birth to a child, nurture the child, then when the child grows up, he will come back to take care of the mother. So the same thing is applicable to alumni association. This school, it is a school that brought them up, nurtured them. Then after leaving the school for so many years, they will now come back to take care of the school, to give back to the school. So that is the idea of alumni. It is
It's like mother to child relationship. But I was in the discussion with a friend sometime ago and says, when we were at that school, we paid our dues. I mean, we paid the fees, we did all that was expected of us. So why should we go back there since they've taken their dues when we were there? For instance, you paid school fees while you were in school. And looking at the current situation in Nigeria, free education. But now, even secondary schools are paying, a token, for the whole process. Do you think this is encouraging so that when these students leave the school, will they all feel a need to come back to the aid of such school?
Yes, it is necessary for them to come back and give back to the school. Because, you see, the school where you graduated from, there is no way, wherever you go, anywhere you are, that you will not, still talk about the school. So it's a school whereby you graduated from, and the glory of the school has gone to the jungle. See, it is necessary for you to look back at the school to see how far the school is, progressing. You see, nowadays there are a lot of, most of the schools are now living in their past glory. You understand? Though the government is trying, but they cannot do everything. So that is the reason why the alumni, it is necessary for the alumni association to come back, to come together and give back to the school of their graduation, so that they can be proud of that school anywhere they go. Because a school whereby the buildings are dilapidated, about infrastructure, not to write about, you cannot be part of that such school. So it is better for the association, for the alumni association to come together and do and add their quota for the development of that school.
So Perhaps we'll try expand this conversation to get your views. You schooled in a different, well, I say generation now, in a different time
Yes.
than what is obtainable today in our society. Perhaps when you look back to schooling at that time, perhaps at the secondary or primary school level, what we have today, what are your thoughts?
You see, there are a lot of changes that have come into place if we compare school of nowadays to that of the olden days, to the time we were in secondary school. You see, then the advent of GSM, social media, has not come to place then. So basically, students then they focus on reading. Nowadays, if you see, most of the students now, you see them with a handset. Instead of them to be busy, maybe at home reading, you see most of them pressing handset, watching different kind of social media stuff. And this debar student from reading, and it has actually affected the outcome of their performance in the school. But in the olden days, there was nothing like that. Basically, we read a lot.
Yes. Do you think the Alumni Association has, because when we have conversations around the role of Alumni Association in schools' development,
yes,
more often than not, out of 100, 99 or 90% of the conversation or the thoughts would be geared towards infrastructure development.
Yes.
But you've pointed out something which is totally different from infrastructure in terms of perhaps the content, the behavior and the ethics that you held at that time. Do you also think the Alumni Association has a role to play in this regard?
Yes, they have a lot of role to play in that regard. You see, the coming of Alumni Association to assist the school, actually, one, it enhances resources. That is, donation of funds to fund the renovation of classrooms, procurement of furniture like lockers and desks for students, then building of laboratories and procurement of laboratories equipment, then and so many other other infrastructural development that has direct impact to the welfare of the student. It will create a kind of conducive environment for learning and teaching.
Okay. Earlier you mentioned that most schools are now living in their past glories.
Yes.
What constitutes the glory of the school, and how can the Alumni Association help in the restoration of this glory?
Yes, thank you very much. You see, nowadays, because of the introduction of this of many technologies, it affected the morale of students, of secondary students. Most of them actually defeated from the normal ethics. You understand? Then through the coming in of alumni association, if for a particular school, if an alumni association come in to bring in to establish a kind of career talk or inspirational talk, this will assist the student to deviate from any kind of behavior that can affect them negatively.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, but now let's look at some of the challenges and the opportunities that alumni associations can face in supporting schools' development. I believe that your own alumni association too, you must be making some efforts and all that. What are these challenges and that you are facing in supporting your school's development?
Thank you, moderator. we have been facing some kind of challenges nowadays. You see, number one, you see, the economic factor is actually part of the challenge we are facing, because most of the members of an organization, most of them, they work in different places. Then some of them are not equally, endowed. They are not equally endowed. You understand? So when it comes to collaboration, that is, maybe they are planning for a project, and maybe their target is, maybe they want to contribute a certain amount of money. So at times they may find it difficult to meet that target, to do that kind of a project. So at times, most of them we invite partnership from outside, and these days it is not even easy to get partnership to get sponsor from philanthropists or well-wisher. So that's one of the challenges faced by some alumni association.
Government at different times have come out to say, at different levels have come out to say, yes, these alumni associations are very critical if we must advance our development across schools or the education system in the country. When you also look at the issue of out-of-school children, you look at the increase in some of the cost of education. I was looking at an editorial of the Punch newspaper this morning, trying to put together what it is like to, go to school at this time. I also begin to wonder, critically, there must be a way for government to explore every means possible for support. In India, I understand there is a region that has made it an official, statement, official declaration to recognize alumni association, aside from they just coming together to marry and all of that. Do you think government must also start looking to formally engage with this group of people?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. You see, considering the impact of alumni in the development of school, it is very imperative, it is important for government to look in this direction. That is, to give room for alumni association to come to assist the development of school, because government alone cannot, they cannot, they cannot, assist the school. They cannot do though they are trying, but they cannot do everything for the school. So with the assistance of the alumni association in the development of school, it will even help the government to achieve their.
So who would reach out first? Is it maybe because in different scenarios we've seen principals of school having to go look for records of who among our students, past students, have been able to live here, excel, that we can reach out to. Is it some alumni or some group or some students just remember, and I went to this school. It's that time I look at and coming back, or even the government itself having a data of students who have left schools within the shores of the state or the country, who can come back, they can reach out to, who makes that first move.
Yes, it is vice versa. The school authority can make the first move, and the alumni as well can make the first. Anybody can make the first move. You see, in a situation whereby a particular school is facing a problem and that needs urgent attention, so the principal can contact any of the alumni for help. So it depends, and at times when the alumni pay a visit to the school and they see that there is need for them to to establish any kind of project in that school, so the alumni as well can come in to assist. So it is either way.
We now have associations, sorry Shadi, we now have associations, different sets, one sets, 94 and all of that coming together. But for anybody who or perhaps for young school leavers who might be watching at this time and who perhaps grabbing a sense or two from what impact they can make in the lives of the younger ones who are coming behind them. At what point do you think, or at what number of years after leaving school, do you think there has to be this coming together?
Thank you. Coming together starts the moment you leave school. Because, you see, during our time, when we left school, there was no GSM. So we lost a lot of contact. Most of our mates, we couldn't reach out to them. So after so many years, everybody has scattered to various parts of the world. So after coming back, we now have to start looking for ourselves. So we find it takes us some time before we got to where we are as an alumni today. So it is right on the moment you left school that coming together has to start from.
Okay, coming together has to start from. But what a young school leaver would say, what do I have to offer? Like, I just left school after work or still in the university, what do I have to offer? I want to believe that the level of participation definitely will vary,
yes.
Depending on the years of graduation.
It'll be a summer lesson. You'll be coming back to even teach students summer
yeah.
classes.
And that's one thing that should be looked into too.
Yes. You see, coming together immediately you left school, you may not necessarily have financial impact on that school, but it will give a kind of opportunity for you to unite. So by the time they graduate from the university, perhaps they got provide a better job for them, and they are ready to give back to the school. It will be easier for them.
All right. So, Mr. Benga Odewale, you're the secretary of 91 set of Omodurubu Grammar School, Akure. And since something is drumming up from your association to the school, so can you tell us about it?
Thank you very much. Omodurubu Grammar School 1991 set happens to come into place we established about 4 to 5 years ago. About 4 to 5 years ago. So, and our coming together, we intend, to remain a noble vanguard that we sustain a well-coordinated association. That is one. Then number 2, to give back to the school of our graduation. Then number 3, to enhance the welfare of our members and to contribute to humanity. So that is the main purpose of coming together as an association.
So right now, do you have something in the offering for your school? Are you planning something for your school? Maybe you're having a project that you're working on for this.
Yes. Before I go to that, we have done a lot of things to that school, a lot of development, a lot of achievement that we have achieved, that we have done to that school. One, we have sometimes ago, when they call us that they needed assistance, see, the school
reached out to you.
They reached out to us, yes. When the student that did work last, they were preparing for their work, and they are having challenges in some subjects. They don't have teacher in 2 subjects, mathematics and chemistry. So when they reach out to us, we now say, okay, we'll do it for you. We employ part-time teacher for them for the period of that time that they were preparing for the exam. And by the grace of God, when the result came out, we had a good testimony. So that is one. Then 2, we visited the school sometimes ago. We donated 3 white chalkboard, then white not chalkboard, marker board, yes, to the school with marker and cleaner, because the school had none then. Then, thirdly, there is a project that we started in that school last year. We call it Student Support Program, and the aim of that program is to award scholarship to students. Last year we gave 5 students scholarship just to cover their school fees for a year. So the second edition is coming out tomorrow at the school. And this year's edition is more loaded than that of last year.
How? Tell us.
Yes. Last year we gave 5 students, 5 students benefited from the award. But this year we have increased it to 12.
Or is it based on academic performance or indigent students?
Yes. Those that we gave last year was based on their academic performance. Best students were picked, one from each class, from GSS to SS class. This year also, we are going to do that. We are going to give students a year scholarship from GSS 1 to SS 2 based on their academic performance, best student. Then we are going to give 2 indigent students scholarship too. Then we also extend the award to other curricular activities, like in sport. So best student in various kind of sport, we decide to give 3. Then we are also intending to give 2 students. We want to give them new uniform. We will pick them tomorrow. We are going to give them 2 uniforms.
So tell us, from 5 to 12, and I'm imagining perhaps the next time could be 20 or 50.
Yes.
What was responsible for that increase? Is it that fact that you have more of your members coming to support, or what exactly is behind the increase?
Yes. You see, the one we did last year was the first edition. So we just use it to test run, to see how the project, how our members we accept the project. So the outcome of the first edition, was very encouraging. So this year we now decide that we are going to increase it, and when we inform our members and they all accepted it.
Also, you talked about you engaging teachers for the your alma mater,
Yes.
to take them in key subjects like mathematics and chemistry, you said.
Yes.
And that could be a short-term thing,
Yes.
because those teachers are on part-time
Part-time
basis. So is your association doing anything to influence or to notify the government, or use your positions? Probably you have some of you now who are well placed in the corridor of power to make sure that there is a substantive, government teacher for those subjects in the school.
Yes.
How well do you relate with government to bring such opportunities to the school?
Thank you, moderator. You see, though the government is really trying in the area of education, but they cannot do it alone. There are some of our mates too that are in the high position in the government that we have contacted, and they are aware of the problem being faced by the school. So we are trying our best to make sure that we come out to assist in that area. That's what we are doing. We are currently planning it.
Okay.
And we pray that it will come to.
Okay, I think initially I asked you a question of what constitutes the glory of a school. Yes, I still want to know what constitutes the glory of the school. How would you say, oh, this school is a glorious one? Why? What's the yardstick?
Yes.
Or perhaps in another
maybe
time,
you want to put it better.
reputation. What also contributes to the reputation of the school? Are you also looking to change or advance the reputation of your school?
Yes.
Tell us how.
Yes, we are. It is one of our mission, our vision, that is to rewrite the history of that school. Yes. You see, number one, the school structure is very important. Our aim is that we should engage, in a kind of partnership with well-meaning Nigerians, with philanthropists. We are not begging for money. They can just come through us to develop the school. Then secondly, you see, what we are doing there is to encourage the students to put in their best. in the academics, so that they can compete favorably with other schools. You see, the outcome of students within the school exam and outside the exam, we add to the glory of the school. Yes, so the facility of the school and the performance of the student in the school, really determines the glory of a school.
All right, now let me just bring this matter up. I read an article somewhere recently. It's written by a university don who says they now have instances of students coming with good grades in WAEC to university. Probably a child that has put in for engineering course and had distinction in mathematics, physics, and the likes. And the simplest of formula this child cannot solve, meaning the results brought was not authentic, And is this giving concern to alumni association? I believe it should be a concern for alumni association. How can they help solve that?
Yes, it is a great concern to the alumni association. You see, that is why I said earlier that part of the duties of alumni association is to organize inspirational talk to the student, to advise them, to talk to them the importance of studying hard, because somebody that did not study, that did not prepare for an exam, you seated for the exam, and somebody maybe due to the help of from one side or the other, you pass that exam. When you get to the exam, you won't be able to cope. So it's a great concern. That does not portray a very good image of that school. Because they will ask him, which school did you finish from? So it's a great concern. So the alumni is doing. We are trying our best to make sure that we educate, we sensitize the student about this.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Benga Odewale, for coming on the show today. Secretary 91 said, Grammar School, Akure, and we want to wish you well as you go about affecting and impacting your alma mater. We hope and pray for the best for you. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. Well, my dear viewer, we're going to take a short break now. When we return, it will be time for another discussion. This time we'll be taking you to the political arena. Don't go away.
Leadership is not a pack. You take it. Here it is. I view the how you do it. Is that people must strive. They to be a power given to them. They must harms for nothing. You work for it.
I'm glad to know you're still with us on the hand today, and we said we'll be hitting the political arena when we return from the break. So straight to the point, our focus is Ondo 2024, APC and the electorate. Yes, that's the focus. And to look at that with us this morning is Engineer Alex Oladimeji. Is the SSA to the Governor on Public Works. It's nice to have you, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, quite a number of times we've had you in the past, and we talked about the APC and the engagements with the electorate's rural engagements and all of that. Yes, can we give us a kind of briefing, will I say, yes, on the party's engagement with the electorate so far?
Yeah, thank you. I think our strength in dealing with people now is this, some of activity that's been not be taking place for long. I think now, I think our able governor, Governor Lucky Orimisan, that he has revived it, and something like bursary, something like scholarship, something like empowerment for the entrepreneurship, and those are the engagement we have with people that is different from party politics, because you know it's not about being a party member, it's about what you are doing to people, and what you are doing is not affecting your party alone, it's affecting everybody, because I'm very sure that giving scholarship is not limited to party members, giving bursary is not limited to party members, at the same time empowerment is not limited to party members. I think the governor is trying as much as possible to revive what has been moribund in the past, and that is presently our strength. And of recent, we observed that the government is getting involved in putting smile to the face of people in rural area, like giving them waters. You know, sometimes it is not everywhere you can pipe water to. Some need bulb, because of recent we have been discouraging people of saying, why is it bulb? But the truth of the matter is that there's some area, rural area, that needed to have bulb, because some of them go to the stream to fetch water, which is not good for their health. And the governor has been doing this, and I think like last week now, like 4 or 5 was done, which I was privy to, and I know that is how it's been done across the state now. And those are the engagement we are having with people. Apart from the campaign we have, our normal campaign, but the governor is trying as much as possible to make sure that the people at the grassroots feed the government. And of recent as well, initially, you know, we normally hear fertilizer distribution. It doesn't happen in the south. I can tell you that for years, it doesn't happen in the south. But presently, I think apart from the fertilizer distribution, I think there is orientation for people on how to use fertilizer. Area where we will apply fertilizer, area we don't need fertilizer. You understand me? And it's a new approach to farming in this our area, because initially we don't know how to apply fertilizer. We just believe we have a fertile land, unknowing to us that some of those land we have used several times need to be fertilizer needs to be added, and the government has done that, and I'm very sure by next year the agriculture, as far as Ondo State is concerned, is going to another level.
So what are the feedbacks you're getting from the people you mentioned that you're engaging with all of these projects that you've mentioned?
Well, I should ask you that question. You're a media person.
You also visit the people.
Yes, I know.
Yes, that's what I'm asking you.
Yes,
What do they tell you? Are they satisfied with what you're doing?
I just tell you that they're not going to satisfy. I use fertilizer as an example. That initially we normally hear fertilizer distribution. It used to happen in the north, but now we are having it, and not only having the fertilizer, we are having the orientation. People are giving orientation on how to apply it, where you need to apply it, and at which point you need to apply it to increase the agricultural product, so that everybody will have food on the table. It's not all of us that can be a farmer.
So there has not been any area of concerns that the people have told you, look, Mr. Governor, the governor of Ondo State, you should look at this.
The area of concern is not specifically for the governor, and it's for everybody. You know, the area of people complaining now is this way. That's all. That's the focus of anywhere you get to now. People will complain about fuel. That's the area. That's the only area where people are complaining, and it's general. And I think it's not specifically a problem of the governor. You know, it's a federal government. It's our problem altogether. So that is why I'm not talking about that area. But specifically, people want good life. You understand me? And there's no way people will not have one or two things to ask from government. It all depends on the area. Okay. You understand me? And that's why, you know, I keep on mentioning agriculture, because that's the focus. Why I say that's the focus is that I think that will be our saving grace now. Because when you don't have food on the table, there's a problem. If you have money and you don't even have product to buy, you understand me? And why this food is prices is high like this is because few people go to farm. You know, few available resources will be expensive.
Okay, though you said the issue of fuel price is a general problem and all that, but don't you think there are some specific things that probably the government could do, you know, within their own catchment area to reduce the pangs of the effects of fuel hike on their citizens? For instance, we have some states who have reduced the number of working days for their civil servants. We have some states where there are distribution of palliatives and all of that. So which area is the Ondo State government trying to reduce the effect on its citizens?
Well, I will talk about the palliative, and the palliative is going on. So it has not stopped, it's continuous as far as palliative is concerned. But the issue of reducing days, I think that is the prerogative power of Mr. Governor, and I will leave that to Governor to decide. But for palliative, I think it has been on and it still continue. And you know, most of these fertilizers I mentioned, they are all palliatives. It's not that they are selling it for them. It's free of charge, not for sale. All the fertilizer given is palliative to assist our people.
All right, let's look at the gradually we'll get into November, which is the Ondo State month. You know, where we'll also be casting our ballot. Just this weekend, the Edo State people elected their own. Let me say they elected their new governor, and. Then, because it's your party after all.
Yes, yes.
It's your party after all. But looking at the participation of voters there seemed to be a decrease, you know, in voters' participation. For instance, I have here a chart with me of the trend of voter turnout in Edo governorship elections since 2012. And for 2012, it was 39.1%, you know, and then downwards to 2024 it came to 22.4%. I mean, what could have happened, and do you foresee that kind of voter apathy also in Ondo State?
Well, I don't really see that as voter apathy. If you look at the record, you discover that sometimes the number of registered people, rarely will you see 50% of them coming to vote. It is not an apathy, it is the orientation. And some people they will be boasting to say that me, I don't vote. Sometimes I wonder how people just open his mouth to say I don't vote. You understand? You don't vote, you go and register. You have a voter's card, but you don't come out to vote. It is not, it is, I think people still need to understand that this vote is their right. And that is what they have to use to either effect changes or not. You understand? Because the era of my vote doesn't count, I think has gone and gone for good. Unless we are deceiving ourselves. Era of my vote doesn't count has gone and gone for food. I remember in those days when we vote, there was any party that will have power, we send the other out of the polling unit and stuff the ballot and do some people will just make an announcement without figure. That cannot happen again. Vote can't now. I think I would just advise the government at all levels to orientate our people, to let them know that the era of vote, my vote will not count has gone for good. All we need to do is to improve on our processes. I think the idea of my vote will not count is not for now, because in those days when you want to vote, when they started this our card, if you can, the card cannot access. If the reader cannot read, you fill the paper. Then some people might hide under that and filling. Now there's nothing like filling a paper. If the machine doesn't accept you, it doesn't accept you. You are not voting. You understand me? So I think government has done enough to make sure that vote counts. It now depends on us, the electorate, to know that yes, it is my right to come out and vote. You understand me? I think it is the party people that have orientation that normally vote these days. People just feel that I don't have time to vote.
That is apathy. That is lack of interest.
Forgetting that it is their right, fundamental human right, to come out and vote, to choose their leader.
So isn't it one of the responsibilities of political
No,
parties to
there's
make
something
sure
I miss. There's something I miss. I think mostly all this Taga election, the Edo, I think sometimes it affects the participation of people. You know, if you observe the record of election during the normal election, like these
the
are
general elections,
you discover that people participated more than, because some people, so everybody don't travel. In most cases, during that time, they want to be in where they vote. But in this Taga election, you might not know. You know, somebody who's supposed to be in Edo voting will be somewhere doing something else. But if it is general election, we know that what is happening in Ondo is happening in Edo, is happening in Kogi, is happening everywhere, and people tend to participate more. And I think the reason for that low turnout is this Taga, and I think we will see experience it as far as Ondo is concerned, because the same thing applicable to us here.
So what are you doing to lessen, the number of people who electorates who may not likely want to go out to vote? Because in some of your engagements, I believe that you must have come across some people who tell you, I'm not voting, and I know that. How much of persuasion are you doing as a party?
You know that during voters registration, government do a lot to give orientation to people, and that's we do it as a local government chairman. I even provide buses to convey people to come and register. That's part of orientation we are giving. We are explaining to them that it is your right to register and vote. That if you don't vote, if you don't register, that means you are giving your right out. Anything can happen. I think we do that a lot, and we will continue to do it. And I will just advise government at all levels to continue doing that until we get to a level that is desirable. It's a continuous something we need to do.
You're a member of the All Progressives Congress. Let's take a look at your local government area, what you're doing in terms of that mobilization effort towards the election. I know your mobilization will not just be about people coming out to vote, it will be to vote for your party in the election. How far is that going? And what again, takes me to the feedback. What are the people telling you?
Yeah, we are doing that, and I want to tell you that every week now we do ward meeting. And what we do in ward meeting is to explain to our people, tell our people the policy of government, why they need to vote for our people, why they need to go out to talk to other on the other divide, to come to our party, And those are what the ward meetings meant for. And it's not only the ward meeting is weekly, but unit meeting is daily, depending on when the unit are ready to do their own. And you see campaign as kickoff, but it's only that because of this, the campaign committee has not started, but campaign is on in every local government, every ward, in every unit. And we are telling our people the reason why they need to vote for us. And we are telling them the challenge we are having, telling them the reason why we are having the challenge, that is a short time, it's a short period. We'll get over this challenge. And it's not a party matter. It's not because the APC is in government that we are facing this thing. We are telling them that the challenge of Nigeria is beyond party. Party
in government?
In government is a system problem that the present government is trying to tackle. And you know, there's no way you want to tackle a problem. There are going to be challenges, and that is the challenges we are facing. And with time, we'll get better.
There are some who have said the outcome of the Edo governorship election will perhaps has put your party in those states to sleep, looking at the fact that despite all of the build-up, the anticipation, the momentum in Edo State, your party still came out tops. How fast asleep are you in those states?
We're not sleeping. We're working every day because even like Yoruba adage you say, into that Onfadua, into that no Onfadua, you know, nobody is sleeping. Both ourselves and the opposition. We're not both sleeping. You understand? Because we cannot say because we have won Edo, we'll go to sleep here. No, we will continue until November 16, when by grace of God we win the election.
What lessons are you taking as a party? You're a member of that party,
yeah.
A ranking one at that. What level are you taking from the Edo governorship election, and perhaps also looking to implement here?
I think Edo, the situation in Edo is more or less like opposite to the situation of Ondo State. You know, in party politics, the more people, the merrier. You don't despise people. You try to work along with people in harmony. You know, I think the challenges in Edo that give us opportunity, the disadvantage of further that become our own advantage is the crisis between the governor and the deputy, and the crisis between the governor and the Oba. Yeah, I think that's the major issues over there. But here in Ondo State, I think the governor has made fences with everybody within. You know, it's very, very bad to have opposition within your party. It is very dangerous than other opposition outside. But I think here in Ondo State, I think we have gone beyond that level because the governor has made fences with every other.
So you don't have opposition within your party?
For now, I don't think so, because everybody has come on board and we have started working for the government.
All right. After this Edo election, in meeting, recently in the public gathering, the former president of Nigeria, President Goodluck Jonathan, says the problem of Nigeria electoral system is not technology cannot solve it. That it has to do with the culture, the mindset of the people. Are you working on this mind? Are you looking at that direction, working on the mindset of the people?
Yes, I agree with him to some extent. Yes, you know, when you talk of mindset and technology, there are two different things. The technology aspect of it is systematic, is system. But the culture is human, is people. You understand my approach to things. Technology is a part. You cannot miss it. That's why I say to some extent. To some extent means that I don't agree that technology issue will be jettisoned. But I quite agree with him that our problem too is cultural. We must understand the culture, how people feel, what they want. I think it's going a long way to help us in advancing the technology. Once that cultural attribute is settled and everybody understand the reason why they need to vote, the area where they are voting, and what they need from government, and how to do feedback approach. Say your mind and let government reply you to know the level of your want. That's good. At the same time, you cannot jettison technology, because it was through technology that I just mentioned that it has reduced drastically election rigging. If we don't have technology, how do we solve that? So technology has its own advantages. Why our cultural value too is key. We must, I agree with him on that extent, but two have to go together so that the result of the two coming together is enormous beyond separating the two.
All right, and just also in the just concluded Edo election, the LP candidates are talking about their party still alleged that, because you just mentioned now that there's no, it's still alleged that the issue of vote buying was still in place at that election. It's still alleged that there are some manipulations to the election results and all of that. And that goes to align with certain people's line of thought that it seems in Nigeria politicians have come to perfect their act of rigging, not in a way. Do you agree with that?
I disagree totally, and I will tell you why. Yeah, when you say manipulation, how? When you allege, you must prove. How do they manipulate? Because we understand that this time around, BFAS was deployed. Yes, if you say they are manipulating, you have your agent in each of the polling units. Let your agent bring out the result, because every agent of political party present in each of the units, and they have their own result. After the election, they will send the result, they will have copy. Get the copy of all your agents in each of the polling units. Compare with what they announced. Then you know if there's you cannot just sit down in a place and say there's manipulation where you cannot prove. You understand? But issue of vote buying, I don't understand how they buy vote. Each time I come to this place, I say, when they say vote buy, how do they buy vote? I don't understand how they buy it. Because I have not involved in buying vote before. I don't understand they buy it. So if we talk about manipulation, yes, you have to prove to people how they manipulated the election. Not to just come out to say they did it. Who alleged must prove.
Okay, that's the size of the show for today. That's how far we can go on the discussion. But definitely, we're still going to have another occasion to call on Engineer Alex Oladimeji, the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Public Works, to come and give us his views on the show. But for today, we're going to be drawing the curtain on the show. From Zaid?
Yes, Wednesday it is. Do well to enjoy the rest of your day.
Oh, you took it to the poetic part. Do well to enjoy.
Regardless, and for those who are still perhaps undecided, participating in the process, especially exercising their franchise, just like Engineer Alex Oladimide said, it's as though you're giving your rights to someone else.
Exactly. Just as I said to someone who said, after all, the current things we are facing in Nigeria, I did not vote, so I didn't consider. I said, you are the cause. You are actually the one who caused it, because you just have to belong to a side of the divide. We must all make sure that we exercise our franchise. Well, this is the size of the show for this morning. Thanks so much for being a part of the show. After Friday again when we come your way. My name is Paula Shadi. Bye for now.